I'm so glad you're safe. In everyday life, there aren't many moments when you truly realize the possibility of losing someone dear to you. You think it's natural that someone important will always be in your tomorrow, but then you're reminded that it isn't so. I, Daito Akashi, who will turn 30 this year, hugged my fiancée Reika Karuma in the hospital. Reika had contacted me while I was out for work, and I rushed over as quickly as I could.
Righto, I'm okay. It was just a scratch.
Apparently, she was almost hit by a car that ran a red light, and was saved by a stranger who happened to be there. It'll be terrible if something happens so close to the wedding, wouldn't it?
It's okay, really. I was saved.
Reika kept repeating that she was fine, but her expression was somewhat dark, probably because she was still scared. I can't thank the person who saved you enough. Did you get their contact info? I'd like to thank them too.
No, they said they had a flight to catch, so they left in a hurry. I couldn't get their contact information.
I see. If that's the case, then it can't be helped. Reika, once we're married, I'll always protect you. I promise.
Thank you, Raito.
I was just so relieved that Reika was safe that I didn't notice how strange she was acting at that moment. And then, finally, the wedding day arrived. I was at the venue, feeling a mix of nervousness and happiness. Granny, can you see everything clearly?
Oh yes, I can see you clearly, Raito. You look more handsome than ever today. Reika-san looks so beautiful too. I'm so happy to be able to see this. I'm so grateful.
My grandma, Hanae, smiled happily on the screen. My grandmother has trouble with her legs, making long outings and travel difficult, so she's attending remotely. Granny, thank you for raising me up to this day. My parents died in a car accident when I was still in elementary school. Since then, my grandmother in the countryside raised me. I lived with her until I started living with Reika.
Raito, it's me who should be thanking you. Thanks to you and Togo, I've had a truly joyful life.
I also have a younger brother, Togo, who is 2 years younger than me. He couldn't attend because he's working overseas. Originally, he planned to attend remotely like my grandmother, but about a month ago, he told me that even that would be difficult. The ceremony started without a hitch, and as the priest prompted us, we exchanged wedding rings. Reika, why do you look so down? Are you feeling sick?
Huh? No. It's nothing. I'm just a little nervous.
6 months ago, since the day of the accident, Reika started to show a clouded expression from time to time. And today's no different. Since that day, it's like she's become a different person. We're going to live our lives together from now on. No matter what happens, I'll always be by Reika's side. Wait! Oh, what is this déjà vu? It's like a scene from some drama, a worn-out cliché. A man throws open the doors, grabbing everyone's attention, and then he'll take the bride away from me. My mind is oddly calm as I imagine such a plot, but when I focus my eyes, I see that the man is someone unexpected. What, Togo? Why are you here? You're supposed to be overseas. As he walked down the aisle toward us, I couldn't comprehend the situation. He was supposed to be overseas. Brother, I'm sorry. Please, let me have her. What? What are you talking about? You've never even met her, right? You were overseas, so... The only one who met her was her grandmother. I never had the chance to introduce her to my brother directly, because he was always busy with work. We met by chance half a year ago. I'm the one who saved her from that car that ran the red light. We've been in touch ever since. I fell for her, and I only found out later that she was your fiancée. I tried to give up, but I just couldn't, because we're destined to be together.
Raito, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ever since that day,
Togo fell for Reika as they kept in touch, and Reika fell for him right after he saved her that day. She didn't tell me the contact info of the person who saved her that day, because she didn't want me to know. Naturally, we couldn't continue with the wedding after that, and it turned into a disastrous day. It's been a few days since then. I've been getting calls every day from my friends who attended in place of my family. I'm sorry for making you worry. All I could do was reply mechanically to their messages. My heart was on the verge of breaking. Still, I packed up and left the house where I had lived with Reika, and I sent her belongings to my brother in America as much as I could. I can finally go back to Granny's place. My grandmother, who was supposed to be watching her wedding remotely, I'm sure she's worried sick. Instead of repaying her, I've only caused her more worry. What am I doing? The thought of disappearing just crossed my mind. At that moment, huh? A woman standing on the station platform. In the clear blue sky, she slowly began to fall onto the tracks. The scene played out in slow motion, and I gasped. At this rate, she... Even though the worst case scenario crossed my mind, I was oddly calm, having just been thinking about something similar myself. And then... Before I knew it, I had reached out and grabbed her hand. Her slightly widened eyes were strikingly blue and clear, as if they could pull you in. It's dangerous. The woman said nothing. I led her by the hand and sat her down on a bench on the platform. We watched several trains pass by without saying a word, just sitting side by side. Then her phone rang, and after a moment of hesitation, she answered.
Hello, Dad? Yeah, I'm alone.
It's probably her father on the other end. She spoke in a quiet, gentle voice.
Dad, I'm sorry. He's going to marry someone else.
Her words, though spoken to a stranger, stirred something in my chest. I couldn't help but think, she's just like me. After finishing the call, she let out a small sigh. Without realizing it, I started talking while still looking at the sky. My fiancé chose someone else and left me too. She frowned slightly as she looked at me. It seemed she didn't believe me.
What? A new kind of sympathy scam? You shouldn't lie about something like that.
I wish it was a lie, but she left me in the middle of her wedding. It's the truth.
I see. Sorry for accusing you of lying.
We're alike, aren't we?
Yeah, but your story is more intense.
It's not about whose situation is worse. Everyone's carrying their own burdens, trying their best to live.
You're strange.
Maybe. I'm Raito Akashi. What's your name?
Rinne Hado.
Finally, I got to hear her name. It made me strangely happy, and I stood up, extending my hand to her. Rinne-san, would you mind keeping me company for a bit? I think it's fate that we met here.
Huh? Where to?
To my granny's place. Now that the wedding is over, I'm finally heading home today. But I'm scared to go back alone. She raised her eyebrows slightly and smiled a little. The light in her once blank eyes seemed to return, just a little.
Righto. I'm so glad you're back.
When we arrived at my grandmother's house, she must have sensed my return because she hurried out to greet me. Granny, I'm sorry I'm so late.
It's okay. Just seeing your face, Righto. That's enough for me. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine, Granny. Sorry for worrying you. When I smiled, my grandmother noticed Rinne and smiled warmly.
Is she a friend of yours? It's good to see you. No,
Granny, this is Rinne-san. I happened to meet her at the station on the way home. She lives with her father.
I see. Make yourself at home. It's not much, but it's a good place for self-reflection. Thank you very much.
Before dinner, I told my grandmother that I would go to the nearby sea, and I brought Rinne-san to the beach at sunset.
You can't stand to see others in pain, yet you smile as if you're fine yourself.
You hit the nail on the head. I don't want to make Granny sad. I'm sure she knows that I'm at my limit. She probably realizes I'm putting on a brave face, but she doesn't say anything.
She's a kind grandmother.
We walked along the beach for a while, listening to the sound of the waves. Then, I quietly began to speak. Actually, the one who took my fiancé from me was my brother.
What?
It's shocking, right? I'm sure Granny, who was watching the wedding remotely, was also deeply hurt. Our parents died in a car accident when we were still in elementary school, and since then, Granny has been like a parent to us. We both loved her so much. I'm sure my brother feels the same way. I want to repay Granny for everything she's done for us. The last thing I want is to make her sad.
Then what about you?
Huh?
Are you just going to bottle up your sadness and keep living like that? I couldn't do that. Even though I received compensation, it doesn't heal the wounds in my heart.
Rina-san was right. I laughed softly and looked at her. Yeah, I also received compensation from her family, and my brother transferred some money to me yesterday. But the fact that something precious was taken from my life won't change. Of course, I'm not okay with it. Our hearts are on the edge. Our emotions are overflowing, leaving no room for happiness. It's like a glass of water about to overflow. I remember hearing a story like that from Granny when I was little. Hey, I have a suggestion. It might be cliché, but how about we scream into the ocean? Suddenly, Rina-san's eyes lit up at my suggestion. Then... Rina-san, what's with that sound?
Why? You said it could be anything. Pwee! Come on, Raitoku, you too. Wait, what was that?
You wanna talk? My throat hurt from shouting into the ocean with all my might. My chest ached. Before I knew it, we were laughing while crying. This is amazing. I feel like the emotions built up in my heart are slowly starting to fade.
Yeah, I feel refreshed too. Hey, can I come back here to visit again?
Of course. Next time, bring your father along too. Granny and I will be waiting. After that, I had dinner with my grandmother and Rina-san, and then I took her home. Meanwhile, my brother Togo, who had returned to America, and my ex-fiancée Reika.
Togo-kun, I knew you'd come to get me. Let's cherish this fate together.
Yeah, sure. Reika was thrilled by fate and savoring her intense love, but Togo's expression was far from happy. But I had no way of knowing what was going on in Togo's mind. How's your father's health lately? It's been 3 months since then. Rina-san and I had become regular companions. Shortly after we met, I invited Rina-san's father to Granny's house, and since then, our families had grown close. Her father is a bit frail and often ill. I heard he's an executive at a famous trading company, but his health has been unstable for the past few years, so he had taken a leave of absence from work.
Yeah, recently my father's been getting better and better. He's always looking forward to seeing Granny. Granny teaches me how to cook, and she knows so much. I love her too. Once I can make the miso soup Granny taught me how to make, I want to cook it for you, Raito-kun.
I could tell that the walls around her heart, which I had sensed when we first met, were slowly breaking down. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at me, and I was relieved to see her getting better. But then... Rina! I knew it was you! A man I didn't recognize grabbed Rina-san's hand. Seeing the smirk on his face, the light in Rina-san's eyes faded once again. Is that your new guy? Whoa, you sure got over it quickly after all that crying.
You don't get to say that after cheating on me. You're marrying someone else, so it doesn't matter, does it?
From her words, I could tell who he was. It seemed that he was Rina-san's ex-fiancé. Hey, what are you doing? Let go of her. Huh? What's your problem? Don't get in the way. That's my line. Rina-san and I are on a date right now. We weren't actually on a date, but I figured this much bravado would be forgivable as I glared back at him. I just happened to see Rina with some guy and, well, it made me feel a little regretful, you know? I mean, look at her. She's got a pretty face, right? I don't like the idea of her being with another man. You've got some nerve saying that. Didn't you choose someone else to marry? Apparently, the woman he left her for was an old girlfriend from his school days, and seeing her with another man annoyed him too much to bear. Besides, you're the one at fault here, Rene. When I went to meet her parents, I was shocked. Her dad looked like he was on the verge of needing care. Yes, When the ex-fiancé came to Rina's house to meet her parents, her father happened to be unwell. Seeing that, the man hesitated to marry Rina. But if you think about it, he could kick the bucket any day now. If that happens, it wouldn't be a problem.
Shut up. Don't say another word. I'm not getting back with someone who talked like that about my father. My father raised me by himself. He's not someone you can insult.
So that's how it was.
Dad!
Standing there was Rina's father, just back from work. He was dressed in a suit, looking dignified. You mean to tell me you left my daughter because of me? So, she was hurt because of me. Sir, why are you in a suit? Weren't you unwell? You have no right to call me sir. Rina's father, who had been struggling with illness, met my grandmother, who helped him change his diet and lifestyle, and gradually, his health improved.
Oh, I didn't do anything special. But meeting you and changing your diet has changed your health. Health comes first, after all.
Apparently, the vegetables and food that Granny prepared suited his constitution. Food really is profound. He has since returned to work after taking a temporary leave of absence. Now, he's focused on his job again. My daughter is more precious to me than my own life. I won't let a man like you have her. Leave now. I'm sorry. With a voice that resonated in his gut, the man was terrified and fled in disgrace. Then, the three of us headed back to Granny's house.
Stop with that nonsense.
Granny? Granny's loud voice echoed, and we all looked at each other. We rushed to Granny's side, and there we found someone unexpected. Reika? Why are you here?
Raito, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I can't forget you.
What are you saying, Reika? You were supposed to be happy with Togo, weren't you?
That was just a fleeting emotion from the accident. I didn't know Togo-san was your brother, and by the time I realized it, I couldn't stop my feeling for him.
Togo isn't like that, right? He took you from the wedding. He wouldn't do that lightly. It's not that I didn't feel any resentment towards my brother, but I had always lived as Togo's older brother. Brother, I want to go overseas. I want to study a lot in America. Togo told me that when he was still a first year in high school, and I was in my third year. I see. That's your dream, Togo? Then you have to make it come true. Ever since our parents died when we were in elementary school, Togo and I have supported each other. I decided to start working right after high school, using all of our parents' inheritance to cover Togo's tuition and living expenses at an overseas university. I had no regrets. Togo's happiness was my happiness. I never doubted that. Togo and Reika met half a year ago. It was the day Togo was returning to America after a visit home. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Togo had returned after several years to coincide with her parents' death anniversary, when he happened to save Reika from an accident. I hadn't had a chance to introduce Reika to him during his visit, because of his busy work schedule. I figured I would introduce him someday. Little did I know they would meet like this and be so drawn to each other. You said it was fate. You both said that on that day.
I know, but I was wrong. Being apart from you made me realize it. I have too many happy memories with you.
Stop. You're only acting on your own selfish feelings, hurting everyone around you without even realizing it. I'm happy now. I'm moving forward. And now, you want to go back to how things were? You've already thrown my life into chaos, and now you want to take it all back? Don't be ridiculous. That's not how this works. Brother. Huh? Togo? You came back? My brother Togo arrived, probably chasing after Reika back to Japan. Brother, I'm sorry. You've always wished for my happiness, but I took your happiness away from you. Togo fell in love with Reika, not knowing she was my fiancée. Reika-san, you're the only one for me. Will you come live with me in America? Togo's feelings grew to the point where he proposed to her. not knowing she was already engaged to someone else.
Togo-kun, actually,
Huh? I had no idea you were brother's fiancé. I'm sorry. I can't destroy brother's happiness.
Why not? We're destined to be together, right? Take me away from the wedding. He's so kind. He'll forgive us, I'm sure.
That's... Togo found out the truth a week before our wedding. By then, it was too late to back out.
Togo-kun, I'm sorry. I want to go back to America with you after all.
Reika probably thought Togo had come back to Japan to pursue her. She hurried toward him. She likely realized that getting back together with me was impossible, so she decided to return to Togo. I didn't come to Japan to chase after you. I came to apologize to brother and granny. I did truly love you, and I believed in fate, but you were just confused in the heat of the moment, weren't you?
That's not... Reika Karuma, you hurt both of my precious grandsons and threw their lives into turmoil. Get out of here. I'll never forgive you as long as I live. Don't ever show your face around here again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And so, Reika Karuma left, her shoulders slumped, walking away in defeat. After that, my brother Togo got a severe scolding from Granny.
What on earth were you thinking? Raito has lived his life for you, don't you know that? He's the kind of person who's willing to become the soil for you, his brother, to bloom into a beautiful flower. That's the kind of person he is. Do you understand that?
Yes, Granny. I really regret it. Brother, I'm so sorry. Since then, Togo hasn't returned home for years. He probably feels too ashamed to face me or Granny. As for Reika Karuma, after running off with another man at the wedding, her parents disowned her. She had quit her job to move to America, but her job hunt didn't go well. One day, while crossing a red light carelessly, she was hit by a car. She sustained a serious injury that required 3 months of hospitalization.
Someone, please help me.
She's now unable to return to society and is living off her savings. Soon after, I married Rina-san. We decided to live together at Granny's house, and her father moved in with us. Hanae-san, should I put this fertilizer here?
Oh yes, that's right. Thank you. My legs aren't what they used to be, so I'm grateful for the help with the garden.
My father-in-law has fully recovered and now helps Granny with her daily chores. He told me with a smile that it feels like he's repaying his mother for all she's done.
Righto, I've decided that I want to take better care of myself because I want to stay happy with you forever.
Yeah, I'll do the same. Maybe you can't truly love someone until you learn to love yourself. When you hit a wall or feel stuck, whether you can face forward again can change your life significantly. Love yourself, then love others, so that our hearts can be filled with happiness. From now on, I'll continue to cherish my loved ones and live a life full of happiness.